What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome into episode number 690 of Underground Sports Philadelphia, presented by the city of Vineland. It's your boy KB coming at you from Underground Studios, and we're recording this on a Wednesday, so you already know it's Wednesdays with Harry the K. Harrison in the building. We got a loaded show. We've got Thursday night football to preview for the Birds, a big one on deck against the Commanders. We'll dive into all of that. We'll dive into this Alec Bohm trade rumor stuff because you guys know we are the #1 Alec Bohm podcast on the planet. We'll dive into it, why it doesn't make sense to us whatsoever, and I feel like it's just smoke and mirrors. The Sixers continue to stink. We'll talk some Flyers. There's a wild story going around that involves a place near and dear to Harrison and I's hearts of roller coaster shutting down, and it's just a fascinating thing that I want to dive into. Plus, our good friends at the Premier Lacrosse League with a massive announcement today that we will also dive into as well. Before we get into anything, make sure you guys are following us on the socials. We're on every social platform you can think of. Just search Underground Sports Philadelphia at Underground PHI. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify. Leave a 5-star review. It goes a long way for helping this show continue to grow, helps more people find Underground Sports Philadelphia and our entire catalog of podcasts. And be sure to subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. That is where you get full video episodes of this show twice a week, full video episodes of every show on our network, clips, shorts, live streams, original video content. It is all on our YouTube channel. We are 132 subscribers away from 1,000, which means we're 32 subscribers away from 900. Let's get to 900 before the end of the month, and let's get to 1,000 before the end of the year. Click that like button, ring the bell icon, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And of course, guys, this show is presented by the City of Vineland, and the City of Vineland Municipal Calendar features city-organized, city-sponsored, and city-affiliated events that are of public interest. The calendar, which is accessible at vinelandcity.org, is a good way for residents and visitors to build awareness, remain engaged with city government, and participate in local events. You can also follow the City of Vineland on social media via their Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube pages. And through these tools, you can stay connected to the community and get important announcements about programs and services offered by the city. Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season. And big thank you to Security 21 Security Systems and Paul J. Gillespie Incorporated for their continued support of this podcast.
I'm Mayor Anthony Finucci. If you're looking for the right location, think Vineland, New Jersey. Our pro-business approach is supported by financial incentives, workforce development programs, and other resources which can give your business a competitive edge. Whether you're starting a new business or expanding to new markets, our business environment, infrastructure, accessibility, and quality of life make Vineland an ideal location. More information about how we can help your business grow can be found at vinelandcity.org. Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season.
Harrison, believe it or not, game week is already upon us. Yes, the Eagles had a big win this past Sunday against the Cowboys. I broke it down on Monday's episode, so if you missed that, definitely go check that out. Dove into all of it, but the Eagles have Thursday night football for the first time this year, and it's a big one, and it feels like the past couple weeks, Thursday night football has had some bangers on the schedule. Last week, Ravens-Bengals. This week, Eagles-Commanders, fighting for first place in the NFC East, fighting for a mini tiebreaker at this point in the season, which is huge. But a big game on deck for the Birds. And I talked about this a little bit, and I think we talked about it a little bit too last week. The Eagles have been on this win streak without their all-pro left tackle. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, sound the alarm. Sound the alarm. The All-Pro left tackle is back. Jordan Mailata activated today on Wednesday as we record this. The fact that Jalen Hurts was able to navigate through a 5-game win streak and 6 games without Jordan, effectively 6.5 games, because he was taken out midway through that Saints game. Like, just an admirable job. I think that's how long it was. It might have been the Browns game, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, because he was walking out on crutches.
No, I think it was
At the
I
link.
think it was the Saints game.
Because
Let me think, because it was either the Saints or the Browns, because I mean those were back-to-back games. And
yeah, because we don't count that Bucs game.
no, we don't count that Bucs game. That Bucs game doesn't matter. That doesn't never happened. We were so injury prone, like stricken. That didn't happen. We're 7-1, right?
To get Jordan Mailata back for this game in particular, so he missed the last 4 games, so
Yeah.
it was that Browns game.
Okay.
So he missed most of this win streak, and Jalen Hurts navigated that, all while outside of this Cowboys game being kind of an outlier from it. 4 out of the 5 games during this streak, Jalen Hurts did not have a turnover.
Yeah.
And that was without his blindside being protected with his all-pro left tackle. And this is no slight to Fred Johnson. Kudos to him. Hat tip to him. He filled in admirably for Jordan Mailata in his absence to make sure that Jalen Hurts was upright, was perfectly protected at most points during those games. But now you get Jordan Mailata back, and going into Thursday Night Football, the 53-man roster is completely healthy.
And that's what we needed, especially going into this game. We went into the Cowboys game without Mailata, obviously, but for the most part, we were healthy compared to a banged-up Cowboys roster. And we saw what we could do against a team that is very not good. This week, it's a team we're tied for, basically, for first place. Who would have thought that at the beginning of the year? The Eagles and the Commanders fighting for first place? I thought it would have been the Eagles and the Cowboys. But with a fully healthy squad against a young quarterback who's still learning his place in the league, we need to go out there and just show him what a true championship caliber team can do. And we have a great
this game's going to be a battle. No question about it. But I think one of the benefits is, Commanders fans and the NFL fans in general that are not Eagles fans have wanted to clown the Eagles for trading a 3rd-round pick for Jahan Dotson this offseason. Jahan's come up with some big catches the past couple games. But let's also not forget, we also got a 5th-round pick back. Jahan's super young. I think he's under contract for at least another year as well. The Commanders gave up a 3rd-round pick at the trade deadline for Marshawn Lattimore, who has not played in a single game for them yet because he's got a little hamstring injury. And you traded for an injury-prone player who, before his injury, the Eagles absolutely cooked. And the Commanders secondary, not that great. Nope. Not that great, Bob. This is a game where I love how we've predicted, since you've been back on the show too, the past couple games of what the Eagles needed to do to win to a T. This is a game where the offense, you set the tone with Saquon, but this is a game where AJ and Devontae, and even to a degree Dallas Goedert, can feast.
Absolutely. Just open them up a little bit, hit them with a couple Saquon runs to start the game, and then just start dicing them up downfield. Find AJ on a flare route. Send Devontae on a quick slant. Dallas coming the other way. Hit him with a crossing route. Just something. Get someone open. Jalen bombs dime downfield. Touchdown. And it's going to be a repeat after repeat after repeat. And real quick, after clowning the Dotson trade, the Cowboys traded multiple round picks for Jonathan Mingo. Are you kidding me?
He was inactive last week.
That might be the worst trade of any team in the NFC East this year.
They traded more for Mingo than what they got back in the Amari Cooper trade.
Yeah.
So funny.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Jerry.
So good. This is a huge game for a lot of reasons. Like I mentioned, like you're battling for first place in the NFC East. The Commanders it's weird. Normally, I am so accustomed to Cowboys Commanders being a Thanksgiving game. They don't play each other on Thanksgiving this year, and the Commanders bye week is not until like the 2nd week of December. Nope. So like you have to kind of navigate through the Commanders not having had their bye week yet, where they have Thursday Night Football, then they're home against the Cowboys before Thanksgiving, then they're home against the Titans, they stink, then they're at the Saints off their bye, they stink, and then you play the Commanders 3 days before Christmas in Washington, the Eagles do. Then they host Atlanta, and then they go to the Cowboys. So, like, the Commanders' schedule is relatively easy compared to what the Eagles' schedule is upcoming, where the Eagles have the Commanders. Then out of the mini bye, you go to LA for Sunday Night Football against the Rams. Then you go to Baltimore to play the Ravens, the only team in the NFL that the Eagles have not beaten in Baltimore. Like, they have not beaten the Ravens in Baltimore in franchise history. So that's a huge game, obviously. Then you're home against the Panthers, home against the Steelers. That's not an easy game. Then you're at the Commanders, not an easy game. Home against the Cowboys, and then you're home against the Giants. So, like, you have a couple easier games to navigate, but to have Commanders, Rams, Ravens, Steelers, Commanders as 5 of your next 6 games is a true test of what this Eagles team is going to be made of. It's huge that they're healthy. It's huge that they're clicking in all phases of the game right now. But this game is going to be for first place for the time being. It could be for first place for the rest of the season. It's a mini tiebreaker. Obviously, you play the Commanders again in late December, so like that will truly solidify it. But you need to win at least one of these games against the Commanders if you want to win the division. And overall, the Eagles roster, in my opinion, is far superior to the Commanders roster. And that's not to say the Commanders don't have a good football team. They have a very good football team. Just top to bottom, you match up the Eagles 53-man with the Commanders 53-man. I think anyone in their right mind is taking the Eagles' entire roster over what the Commanders have. Now, you have to go into this game and not overlook it. You can't go into this game like years past against a Washington team that, a lot of times Washington has given us fits. That game last year was one of the most annoying games we've ever watched. And they've kind of been like what I equate the Commanders are to the Eagles, what the Miami Marlins are to the Phillies. Like, they're just that thorn in the side. They always find some annoying ass way to make a game close or to beat us. And you have to go into this game super prepared. I know it's on a short week. I hate that this game is on a short week. I wish this game was on a Sunday so that both teams had the full complement of rest and everything. But like, I feel good about this Eagles team going into this game. I wish they were wearing black for this game.
Oh, that would be perfect. That would be so perfect. I mean, the fact that we haven't done a Thursday night blackout in a minute just speaks volumes.
Especially because Thursday night, one of my all-time favorite Eagles, a Super Bowl champion who grew up an Eagles fan, is retiring officially as a Philadelphia Eagle, and that is the one and only Vinny Curry. Retiring as an Eagle on Thursday Night Football. Couldn't be happier for Vinny.
Come on.
He's the man. I love Vinny Curry. I loved him from the moment we drafted him. He's one of my favorite Eagles ever. But I wish they were doing the black jerseys for this game. It would have been so sick. It would be an homage to the color rush on Thursday Night Football. But this game's going to be huge. And, it's nice that you got a little hardware in the trophy case this week, too, because rightfully deserved Zach Bond, your NFC Defensive Player of the Week. He has been beyond as advertised. Like,
perfect.
I talked to my guy, Ralph Marlborough, who covers the Saints and hosts the Saints Happy Hour podcast. When the Eagles signed Zach Bond, I was like, what do I need to know? And he basically said he's the type of player that if you let him go after the quarterback, he's going to be good. I don't think Saints fans were prepared to see how good of a player Zach Bond is if you let Zach Bond be himself.
Oh, yeah. The fact that he's just flying around out there with Nakobe Dean, we were talking about this before the podcast. I really thought that next year Micah Parsons might come to the Eagles after him chopping it up with Saquon. We're not going to need him. if we have Zach Bond and Nakobe as our two linebackers for the foreseeable future, it's going to be perfect. This defense is set up for a long, healthy run. As long as the young players can stay at this level for the rest of their career and get better, we're talking best defense in the NFL for the next 5, 6, 7 years.
And I mean, you look, and I talked about this on Monday's episode too. You look at this Eagles team right now; they're top 5 in points allowed in the entire NFL. Like, the Eagles have given up just 161 points on the season as a defense. That is, in terms of NFC, it's tied with it. You've given up fewer points than the Lions. It's just a smidge more than the Vikings.
Yep.
And it is better than what the Chicago Bears defense is doing.
Yep.
Like, you're, I think, second in the NFC in terms of points allowed this season. And in the AFC, you're tied with the Kansas City Chiefs. And we all know their defense is disgusting since
the only
midway through 2022. Like, their defense is nasty.
Yeah.
And you're tied with an undefeated team's defense in terms of points allowed. And you've scored more points than the Chiefs' offense has scored.
It really is shaping up that, again, since they're so young, there's potential for this team to have the best defense in the league for years to come. And it's such a beautiful 180 from last year. Like, last year, I was saying the reason we'll lose our first playoff game is because of the defense. This year, I'm saying the reason we'll win the Super Bowl is because of our defense.
Mm-hmm.
It's just such a nice change up and change of pace. It makes my heart so happy. I missed having a good defense. This feels like 2017 again for some reason.
And it's crazy that this game last week against Dallas is the first time that the Eagles have won in Dallas since 2017. And my pinned tweet since that game has been that group of Eagles players posing at AT&T Stadium. And you look back at that photo and it's like, holy shit, like, it's been a while. Like,
he's retired.
I'll pull it up right now and list off the players that are in that picture since the last time before this past week that the Eagles wound up beating the Cowboys in Dallas. So you have Nelson Aguilar, who is currently on the Baltimore Ravens. You have Jalen Mills, who's currently on the New York Jets. Sidney Jones, who was not active for that game. He's in a beanie in this photo. LeGarrette Blount, Ronald Darby, who is somehow still in the league playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Malcolm Jenkins, Rodney McLeod, who was on the Cleveland Browns. You have Patrick Robinson. You have Torrey Smith. You have Kamu Grugier-Hill, who I believe is playing for the Vikings.
We never should have let Kamu leave. I miss him.
You have Rasul Douglas.
Yep.
Alshon Jeffrey. And then the one player who feels like he just is like he popped in last minute because he's like this leaning into the picture. Nate Gary.
Oh my God.
The White Mamba.
I thought of him in a minute.
That is the photo of players.
Bunch of retired dogs and guys who are on the last legs in the NFL. And, Nelson Aguilar.
7 years flies by.
7 years flies by. Again.
It's just insane.
I still can't get over we was catching babies on like Aguilar. That's the only thing I think of when I think of him. Even though he came up with some really clutch-ass catches, if you really think about it.
I was always a Nelson Aguilar guy. I always thought he got so much hate, and it was because he was a first-round pick that just people were – they placed so much unprecedented expectation on him that it was never going to live up to his draft status.
If he was a third-round pick and playing the way he does in the NFL, no one would bat an eye. It's like the Jalen Reagor situation.
Yes.
If Jalen Reagor wasn't a first-round pick, and especially if he wasn't taken before Justin Jefferson, he would have been a perfectly serviceable wide receiver 3. But
he's somehow still in the league, too, by the way.
Which team is he on now?
I want you to take a guess where Jalen Reagor is playing. I'll give you a hint. He's playing in the AFC.
He's not on the Patriots, is he?
No. Wrong coast. He was on the
Mm,
Patriots last year, but
that's what I was thinking. Yeah, he's on the Chargers then, isn't he?
yep,
Yeah,
he is on the
yeah.
Los Angeles Chargers.
He's getting dots from Justin Herbert now.
Insane. Um, but yeah, I mean, this Eagles team is clicking on all cylinders. I feel very good about them, and everyone at home should feel good about them. And I posted this on our social channels, and TikTok is where it really got the discourse going, and a lot of people agreed with me, shockingly, on TikTok. Nick Sirianni's a winner.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, Nick Sirianni's a winner. I said this on Monday's episode. I said he may do some things that you may not like from a head coach. He may have some head-scratching decisions, but at the end of the day, Nick Sirianni in his NFL coaching career has won far more games than he's lost. I don't know if you saw this stat after the game against the Cowboys, Harrison. Right now in the NFL, Nick Sirianni is 9th all-time in NFL history in coaching winning percentage.
yeah. We haven't had a losing season since he's come into the league. He's taken us to a Super Bowl, the playoffs every single year.
He has a
Again,
better winning percentage in his NFL coaching career. Granted, there's a smaller sample size, but nonetheless, better winning percentage than Bill Belichick. Ever heard of
yeah.
him? Better winning percentage than Andy Reid. Ever heard of him? He passed George Halas with the win against the Cowboys.
And who's
Mr.
George
Football
Halas
himself.
again?
Mr.
Yeah.
Football himself.
Wow,
Like, Nick
that's impressive.
Sirianni is a winner, and I wanted to quote tweet it with like, "Oh, the worst person you know," just made a really great point because WIP put out a quote, which WIP, the worst person you know. They put out a quote from Spike Eskin and said, "I want to get it exactly," because I was shocked to see Spike Eskin say this. But it made me kind of feel a little less crazy about the video I put out saying that Nick Sirianni's a winner. Spike Eskin said, "We're going to make the same mistake with Nick Sirianni that we made with Andy Reid. There will be one day when we look back and we think to ourselves, man, we had a pretty good head coach, and all we did was think about the two things he didn't do well."
Yeah, I,
Granted, Andy had a shit ton of success with the Eagles, and 4 straight NFC Championship games, 5 overall.
almost took us to beating the Patriots
You know,
by that much. By
Nick
that much.
Sirianni got you to the Super Bowl in his second year coaching here. And I love the clip that the Eagles put out today with Nick Sirianni. I'm going to pull it
Oh yeah,
up because it is genuinely like what Nick Sirianni is, and he's a winner. At the end of the day, he's a winner, and people are just going to have to live with the fact that the guy who everyone wants to pin as the goofball, as the dope, the doofus, he
but
knows how to win
he
football
can
games.
kind of be those things sometimes, though. That's the thing.
And the
He,
best part is he can do that and still win football games.
exactly, exactly. And that's Philadelphia in a nutshell, right there. Like we can come off sometimes seeming a little rough on the edges, but at the end of the day, it's a winning city, winning culture, and these Eagles are taking us to the promised land. I just feel
Like,
it.
this was in the Eagles like behind the scenes videos that they do every week. This is the team meeting on Saturday before the Cowboys game. Saturday night.
Right? We got really good players. We got a really good front office and GM, right? And with great talent, and with great coaches, and with great physicality, and with great detail, you can win a lot of games. You can win 10, 11, 12 games. But you can't do special unless we continue to come together as a football team. I ain't into winning 10, 11, 12 games. We've done that here. We've done that there. I want to do special shit. And you can't do special shit alone.
Hell yeah.
I'm ready to run through a brick wall right now. Come on now. But no,
He's an awesome coach. Like,
he is.
I love watching people just melt down when Nick Sirianni's successful.
I was serving some guy at the bar the other day after the Jags win, and it was while people were having their little meltdown on social media, like, "Oh my god, he tried so many cute things and it wound up going to hell, and we should fire him tomorrow." And this guy I was talking with, another Eagles fan out here in Indiana, and he said the same thing that you were saying right now. He wins. At the end of the day, a W is a W. And then this week he goes out there and blows the pants off the Cowboys. It doesn't get better than that. It really doesn't.
He has a 662 winning percentage in the NFL. He's 43-22. Like, by the end of this season, let me pull this up, however many games we have left, because the Eagles right now are 7-2. So we have 8 games left.
Yep.
That Cowboys game, if the Eagles run the table, which I'm not saying they will because their schedule is not a cakewalk, but if they find a way to run the table to that Dallas game on December 29th, Eagles-Cowboys, that second Kelly Green game of the year, could be Nick Sirianni's 50th career NFL head coaching win.
Hey, could be, but this is going to be a Cowboys team without the sun in their eyes, so we got to be careful with that.
It's a night game. Night game.
Where's the moon?
There's the moon, Jerry. Oh, I love it. I'm excited for this game. I think it's going to be awesome, and it's fun having something to care about again with the Commanders.
Yeah.
Granted, they're not Giants or Cowboys level in terms of rivalry with us. No. I genuinely think ever. And over the years we've gained some new rivals that have lived on or they fizzled out. Like, I view the 49ers as a rival to the Eagles
absolutely.
now. For the longest time up until recently, the Vikings felt like that. Even sometimes the Falcons, to a degree, still feel like a mini like conference rival from obviously 2004, the first game of the Super Bowl year and the playoffs. Like, there's history between the Eagles and Falcons, and now like the Commanders, they're a division opponent. There's juice to this. I have to sit back and laugh a little bit because, sports stan Twitter can be good, but it can also be very funny, and it can also make you want to piss yourself. Harrison,
oh boy,
this week I had on my timeline a hype video for this game, Eagles Commanders Thursday Night Football in November, synced up to the ever so popular Avengers Endgame edit. They edited together Avengers Endgame with the Eagles Commanders for Thursday Night Football in November. Not a playoff game, not the game later in December that could decide the division for sure. Eagles Commanders Thursday Night Football in November. Got the Avengers Endgame edit.
Week 10,
week 11.
Week 11. Oh my god.
Week 11 Endgame.
Week 11. Yeah. Oh my god. After this, the season's over, guys.
This is their Super Bowl.
Put out the Endgame edit.
This is the Commanders fans' Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They think about us way more than we think about them, and
I don't even think about them at all.
No. I'm scared we're going to wind up eating our words in a few years.
Oh, yeah. We could look stupid.
Like the way that everybody in the NFC North is looking at the Lions right now. But this year, this is their Super Bowl, and we're going to walk them. I'm not worried right now.
Like, the Commanders are 1-2 against opponents this year with a record of 500 or better, and all their other wins are against teams below 500.
Yeah. Not to knock them, because they're a fun young team, plenty of room to grow. This ain't the year for them quite yet. Give it time.
Like, there are very obvious holes on that team. Wide receiver, corner, offensive line to a degree. They don't have all the pieces in place, and I think they're overachieving in a lot of ways.
Yes.
And I think last week their game against the Steelers showed you that in a lot of aspects. And you look at their schedule this year, like the Buccaneers dog walked them week 1 of the season. 37-20. They barely squeaked by the Giants in week 2 and won with all field goals. They kicked 7 field goals in that game to win 21-18. They barely squeezed by the Bengals in that awesome game earlier in the year that really was like Jaden Daniels, like, welcome to the NFL. Like, he's a dog. Then they dog walked the Cardinals. That's a good win for them. The Cardinals seem to be pretty legit this year. They trounced the Browns. The Ravens beat them in Baltimore. They demolished the Panthers.
Yep.
They Hail Married their way into a win against Chicago in a game that they should have
should've
destroyed
walked
that
them.
Bears team.
They should have walked them.
They squeak by the Giants again, 27-22 a couple weeks ago, and then they lose to the Steelers by 28-27.
Yeah. They win the games that they were supposed to. I mean, you're supposed to beat the Browns. You're supposed to beat the Giants twice. And you're not beating the Ravens quite yet. You're not going to beat this Eagles team quite yet. But you're going to go to the playoffs this year. Good for you, Washington. I'd much rather, if there's going to be one other NFC East team in the playoffs, I'd much rather it be Washington than Dallas.
Yeah.
Much rather it be Washington.
Although I do love watching Dallas combust in the playoffs. It is a delicious, delicious meal every single year.
Good soup. Good
and
soup.
Speaking of meals, if you're going to the game, be sure to swing by the M-Lot tailgate. It is I want to get the actual name of it correctly here for the people. Officially, too, as of a half hour ago, the Eagles will be wearing green jersey, white pants.
Standard class. You can't go wrong with it.
I'm a fan.
That midnight green is always just so.
It's my favorite jersey. Like, everyone hypes up the Kelly greens. Sure, they're fun. They're nice little vintage retro. It is an era of losing. It's a loser era. We won a Super Bowl in midnight green. Like,
and with the modern logo. Like, if we now, the dream would be keep the modern logo on one sleeve, put the Kelly green logo on the other, and then rock, or like the Kelly green logo where the ward mark should be.
You know what?
And then the modern logo on the sleeves with the midnight green.
You know what that screams to me?
What?
Foreman Mills. We've got Eagles jerseys. We've got vintage Eagles jerseys. Buy.
We got vintage Eagles jerseys that are also modern Eagles jerseys. How do we do it? We don't know.
All for the low price.
Affordable.
Get them now. Liquidation sale going on at Foreman Mills.
Yeah.
But
God, I was back home in New Jersey for a second right there. That brought me back.
Our friends in M-Lot, the M-Lot Maestro, they're throwing down, and obviously we're playing the Commanders, the team that Josh Harris owns and cares far more about than the Philadelphia 76ers. But it is the inaugural Josh Harris Sell the Basketball Team and Release Us from Our Pain Memorial Tailgate, Thursday, November 14th in M-Lot. Do you want to hear the menu that's going on at the tailgate? So they're going to have T-bones. They're going to have goat chops. They're going to have Iberico pork chops, 1 to 2 vegetables, and Costco dinner dogs. Service at 4:30.
God, I wish I was going to the game now so I could hit that up. That sounds incredible. And also, Josh Harris, sell the team, you coward.
Yeah, he sucks. I hope he tries to attend the game tomorrow and he gets the ever-living shit booed out of him.
Oh, yeah. His face is going to pop up on screen. And please welcome the owner of the Philadelphia 76ers and the Washington Commanders.
As the Here Come the Sixers song starts playing. As Here Comes the Sixers plays over the speakers and everything. Yeah. But yeah, this game's going to be awesome. I'm excited for it. And we've got a big week of football games this week in week 11, Harrison. It's brought to you by Paramount Plus. 10 weeks in. How's our team holding up, Harrison? Well, the Eagles are in first place. They're doing pretty damn good. You can check out week 11 NFL on CBS schedule right here. We got it for you. And review your local listings for the games in your area. So the 1 o'clock slate, got some juicy little matchups here. Ravens at Steelers. Come on now.
Rivalry game. Can't that's a can't miss game.
Can't miss. It's perfect. And the best part about this week for the Eagles, we can just sit back and relax and watch the NFL on Paramount Plus all weekend long with no stress. We got Raiders at Dolphins. That's a frisky game right there because both of those teams are just certifiably unhinged.
Watch the Dolphins sneak into that 7 seed. Just watch it happen.
The Vikings at the Titans. We've got Jaguars at Lions in the Kiddie Bowl. And then Colts at Jets in Anthony Richardson's return to the lineup against Old Man Rogers. And then we got 425. Here's the real like those are the appetizers. Ravens Steelers is a great lead there. 425 on Paramount Plus. Chiefs at Bills.
Oh, perfect.
Beautiful.
And we can't forget about the other big rivalry game in the NFL that's going on next week. Packers and Bears.
Ooh-wee! The Packers might
Spicy.
dog walk them.
Spicy.
That's
Watch Caleb actually get a win in that game. That's going to be the crazy part.
Oh yeah. I'm excited for that. I think a lot of Bears fans think their season is cooked, and it very well might be.
It's cooked.
But
stick a fork in it, it's done.
The fact that this week we get Eagles Commanders start off the week, we get Ravens Steelers at 1 o'clock is like the dialed in game. And then 425, it's Chiefs at Bills.
Yeah. Oof.
Taylor Swift versus Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah.
The girlfriend
Honestly,
game.
I would flex that Ravens Steelers game to Sunday night because you know that Sunday night football is going to be dog water this week. The Texans are going to absolutely walk the Cowboys.
Oh yeah.
I get
it. This town ain't big enough for the two of us.
Who you calling Pinhead?
Oh yeah. Well, that's Monday night. Sunday night's actually a little frisky. Monday night's Texans Cowboys. Sunday night is Bengals Chargers.
Ooh, no wait, that's fun.
That's like hot fun. Frisky. That's fun frisky.
And Coach Harbaugh is going to head on out there, and he's going to feel a little slighted considering what my Hoosiers have done to him the past week. So keep that in mind.
We've got some good games in the NFL this week, but again, your Paramount Plus NFL on CBS schedule Sunday at 1 o'clock. Ravens, Steelers, Raiders, Dolphins, Vikings, Titans, Jaguars, Lions, Colts, Jets, and then 425 all on its own is Chiefs at Bills. Stream the NFL on CBS and watch your local games live on Paramount Plus. Try it for free with the link in our description, or sign up for Paramount Plus today and check out their entire catalog of amazing content that they have, TV-wise, movie-wise, and of course, live sports, only on Paramount Plus. Let's get into this Bohm trade rumor nonsense, Harrison. Let's get into Bohmer. Let's get into Bohmer. It is brought to you by our pals over at 47 Brand. You guys know 47 Brand. They are elite in the headwear game. They are elite in the apparel game. We love 47 Brand here. We have all been wearing 47 Brand since before they got on board with us as a partner. They truly have revolutionized the headwear game, the apparel game. It gives you that vintage feel to your favorite teams. 47 Brand is genuinely the best. And whenever I'm at Citizens Bank Park during the season, last week I took that tour of the ballpark and I wanted to go in the 47 Brand alley store so badly. I was like Eric Andre. I was like, let me in, because I love checking out 47 Brand. I also loved stumbling upon, because last week I made a little trip to the mall, Harrison, and we have a lids in our mall that stocks 47 Brand. Dick's Sporting Goods has a ton of 47 Brand. And there was another store that I went to as well that I'm totally blanking on. But they also had 47. There was multiple stores carrying 47 Brand. I love seeing it out in the wild. Click our link in the description. Shop for your favorite sports fan this holiday season with our friends at 47 Brand. They just launched a whole bunch of new collections. I'm pulling it up right here because I got the text messages too. I get alerted. It's almost like, when new drops come from 47 Brand, you got to act quick because they sell out fast. And looking at some of their new drops, they just dropped for all you, hunting season is here. They just dropped a new camo collection. They also just dropped the Black Watch plaid collection, which looks like a vintage, like those old school, like holiday movie hats with the green and navy blue patchwork kind of flannel look to it. Obviously, Joey Logano just won the NASCAR Cup Series. They've got his championship gear available for you. They've got so much on their site. They've got Rake in the Shades of the Season with their amazing just colorway that's very fall, very festive, perfect for that Thanksgiving dinner look. My favorite style is the 47 Hitch. It is truly the best. But check out 47 brand this holiday season. Shop for your favorite sports team and get free shipping on all orders when you use our link in the description and shop 47 brand. Use our link, get free shipping on all orders with our friends at 47 brand. Harrison, Alec Bohm, allegedly, according to Jeff Passan, who I love Jeff Passan. I follow him religiously this postseason. Actually, Harrison, I walked by Jeff Passan at Citizens Bank Park. He was at game 2, and I was starstruck that I couldn't even say anything to him. But he had his AirPods in. He was a man on a mission. But Jeff Passan, in his article this week at ESPN, wrote that Alec Bohm is on the trade block, to which I have to give a little bit of credence to. Jeff Passan is very in the know. He is one of the best in terms of the insider game with baseball. But then ever since that happened, there's been far too much that has just spiraled out of control with the discourse about this.
Yeah.
I want to put this out there because obviously if you know me, if you follow the show, we're loosely entrenched in Phillies media. You know, we get updates and things like that, but the Phillies are an organization that the common fan should also know. They're not going to trade a player just for the sake of trading the player, and this whole narrative of Dave Dombrowski and John Middleton wanting to shake up the clubhouse and everything like that. If you're going to trade a player, you're going to want to get expected value at bare minimum for said player. And the people running with the clip from Foul Territory, who I respect those guys a ton. They do a great job independently covering Major League Baseball. A lot of former MLB Network employees over there. The people that are believing AJ Pierzynski. Did we not just spend an entire postseason series complaining about that dweeb and how bad he is on a mic?
Yeah.
Talking about how he's talked to people in the Phillies organization saying that Alec Bohm needs to grow up and needs to mature in a lot of places. Could that be the case? Sure. But I think a lot of people saw that on the surface level with Alec Bohm in the postseason this year. If you're believing AJ Pierzynski stories about the Phillies, you're getting your Phillies information from the wrong people.
Absolutely.
And then this whole thing comes out with Buster Olney, who says the dark horse for Alex Bregman this offseason could be the Philadelphia Phillies, saying that his swing plays well in Citizens Bank Park and this, that, and the third. Guys. We're going to take a timeout here. Take a quick 20, okay? Alex Bregman, number 1. I want to read off some stats for you, Harrison, here. We're going to play a little player A, player B. And see if we can deduce which player you as a Phillies fan, you as somebody who's hosting this show would rather be talking about on this Phillies roster next season and or beyond.
Let's hear it.
So here is the career stats for player A. Player A, career stats. Wins above replacement of 4.1, 581 career at-bats, 151 hits. Or I'm sorry, this is their 2024 stats. Apologies.
Okay.
This is their 2024 stats. Wins above replacement 4.1, 581 at-bats last season, 151 hits, 26 home runs, 260 batting average, scored 79 runs, drove in 75, stole 3 bases, had an on-base percentage of 315, a slugging percentage of 453, an OPS of 768, and an OPS plus of 118. That's player A. Player B, wins above replacement, 3.0, 554 at-bats, 155 hits, 15 home runs, 280 batting average, scored 62 runs, drove in 97, stole 5 bases, had an on-base percentage of 332, had a slugging percentage of 448, had an OPS of 779, and an OPS plus of 117.
Okay.
So a lot of comparable numbers there.
Yeah. Like I think I know who's who, but like you take the first guy and you have more home runs, but then you have a lower batting average. Take the second guy, less home runs, but significantly higher batting average. more
More
steals.
RBIs with the second guy as well.
Yeah, more RBIs with the second guy. Less wins above replacement than the first guy, but he picks up basically everything else. He picks up in steals, he picks up RBIs. They basically do the same exact thing. There's no point in trading one for the other. But off of that, I'm sticking with my guy. I'm taking the second player.
Second
Because
player is Alec Bohm. First
Yeah.
player is Alex Bregman. Now, I want to read off Alex Bregman's stats here for you from the past couple of seasons. So, Alex Bregman had a breakout year in 2019. He was an
Yes.
all-star. He had an 8.9 wins above replacement. He finished second in MVP voting. He was an all-star, won a Silver Slugger, walked 119 times in 2019. He has not walked more than 92 times since.
Wow.
So in 2023, Bregman walked 92 times. This season, he walked 44 times. He cut his walks in half. Granted, this year, Alex Bregman played in about 25 less games than he did a year ago in 2023 versus 2024. Still, that's a huge drop off in walks for a 20 game sample size. Alex Bregman this year drove in 75 runs at 75 RBI. In 2023, he had 98. In 2022, he had 93. In 2021, when he only played in 91 games, he had 55. Alex Bregman played in 145 games this year and had 75 RBIs.
Yeah. You got one guy whose career is on the downslide and one guy whose career is just now starting to pick up. He's 2 years younger than Bregman. It would make no sense at all to get rid of Bohm just because we've got this big prospect on the horizon. He's not going to be ready for a year and a half, as we said before the show. He's not going to be ready quite yet.
And I don't want to pay a 30-year-old Alex Bregman in 2030.
No.
Like if you're signing Alex Bregman this offseason, you're signing him to a 5 to 6 year deal.
Yeah.
He's going to be 36. He's not going to play third base the duration of that contract because he's just going to get older. He's not going to be as effective. You already have your DH spot kind of locked up for the next 2 years at least. And Bryce Harper is staying at first base. You're not moving Bregman there. I just don't understand the notion of Alex Bregman being a Philly. I don't want Alex Bregman here, and that's no slight to him as a player. I just feel like he does not fit here. His game, sure, maybe it plays well at Citizens Bank Park. I don't want to litter this roster with older players. And sure, Alec Bohm is 28 versus Alex Bregman's 30, but you're going to pay significantly less for Alec Bohm by matching in arbitration or whatever it may be.
Yep.
And by the time Alec Bohm hits age 30, you'll be ready for Aiden Miller to come up and you'll have the perfect line of succession there for you. I also don't understand moving on from a guy when he just had a career season. Now, was his second half as good as his first half? Absolutely not. Did he get injured in the second half of the season? And do I still think from September into the postseason, he was still playing with lingering effects from that hand injury? Abso-fucking-lutely. I just don't view it as good practice as an organization to move on from a guy after he just had a career year. In my opinion, that's bad optics. That's bad for any future incoming free agent to say, hey, you may stink in a year. We're going to move on from you immediately. Like, it sets a bad precedent. And I think what is quote unquote wrong for people just listening on audio with Alec Bohm is far more fixable than people want to give credence to.
Yeah. Again, his MLB career realistically just started, 3-4 years ago? He's still getting...
He got called up in 2020.
Yeah. He should have his legs under him at this point, but it does take a significant amount of time to become that guy. And he showed those flashes of it at the beginning of the year. give him time to really get a full season, a full healthy season under his belt, and the daycare will just continue to produce. Getting rid of him would kill the vibes on the team too, because you cannot underestimate how important he is for the culture of the team. He's a
Like,
leading member of the daycare, which is what we're centering our team around. It's Bryce Harper, it's Trey Turner, and then it's the daycare. And they know how to get the team up and ready for games. They get them excited. They get them more hyped than anything else. And that's what you need.
I'm looking at his stats right now, and excluding his rookie season, which was the 2020 shortened season where he played in 44 games, and that was just a weird year, obviously. This year, on par with his plate appearances, over 600 plate appearances, over 550 at-bats that were official, scored 62 runs, which was the lowest of his career, but that's because he was more so the guy driving in runs rather than
Yeah.
having the guys behind him to drive him in. He had 155 hits. That's the second most in a full season in his career. Career high in doubles by a large margin, had 44 doubles this year, 2 triples, 15 home runs, which is the second most home runs he's had in a full season outside of 2023 when he had 20. Tied his career high in RBI, had the most stolen bases of his career with 5, only got caught stealing twice. He walked 40 times, which is the second most walks he's drawn in his career outside of 2023 when he had 42. Struck out the fewest amount of times in his career this year at 86 strikeouts. In 2023, he struck out 94 times. The year they went to the World Series, 110. And in 2021, he struck out 111 times. Had his highest batting average, which equaled his batting average in 2022 at 280. Had his highest on-base percentage. His slugging percentage was the best of his career. His OPS was the best of his career. His OPS plus was the best of his career. Every single stat. He got hit by the most pitches in his career, so he's taken one for the team when he's up to bat. He was intentionally walked the most times in his career. He grounded into the tied for second fewest double plays of his career. He cut that down from 2023. He got significantly better this year in so many categories. He was an all-star. You
Let the
don't
kid
move
cook.
on from that. And I
No.
get, everyone's like, oh, it's the daycare, but they're in their late 20s. He's hitting his prime, and I get people that say, oh, you should capitalize on a guy while he's in his prime and try to get the most back for him. Alec Bohm, much like Nick Castellanos, in my opinion, where Nick Castellanos is best suited on the Phillies to do what he does best, Alec Bohm I view the same way. I think if you put Alec Bohm in a different situation, he's not going to be the same player.
Oh,
Alec
absolutely.
Bohm is far more important and serviceable on this Phillies roster than he is on 29 other teams. I don't understand the lateral move of that. I also don't understand the disgusting thought process of trading for Nolan Arenado. You want to talk about declining? That dude stinks. He
Yeah.
stinks on ice. He
Fell
can't
off a
field
cliff.
anymore. He can't hit for power anymore. Do not mention Nolan Arenado when talking about the Phillies. That dude stinks. So yeah, I don't understand this trade rumor at all. There's another rumor swirling around that the Phillies are very much in on Crochet from the White Sox and are looking to trade
Ooh.
for him. I'm still unsure on that one too. He seems like a very injury prone type of pitcher.
But still,
While
getting him out
he's
of
very good,
yeah.
I just don't know if he's worth he's a move that if you trade for Crochet, you're more than likely moving on from Ranger Suarez, who again, I
Ooh.
think that would be a mistake.
Yeah.
And I think Ranger went through a tumultuous season this past year with the injuries, battling through pitching the most innings he's ever pitched in his career. And I even said it on this show, and it's not negative whatsoever. I think it was amazing that his family was finally able to come here and watch him pitch. I think Ranger put a lot of weight and a lot of pressure on himself to perform because his family was finally here and he wanted to prove that, like, hey, I know what I'm capable of. I'm going to go out and perform for my family. And he put a lot of added pressure on himself. And I think a lot of that was showcased as he started to get injured, and his back injury, ironically, occurred. And it's like, I think it's amazing that his family was here. And you look at Ranger in the playoffs battling through and gave you every last pitch he had in that game against the Mets and kept you in that game until Lindor hits the grand slam. I just don't know if Crochet is worth what you're going to have to give up when you have Ranger Suarez still here under contract through 2025. And like, the Phillies are going to need another starting pitcher. Obviously, Andrew Painter is in the mix to make this team out of spring training. He had a great Arizona Fall League as well, but he's also a rookie coming off of Tommy John surgery. I think there's going to be limitations on Andrew Painter going into spring training, going into the season. You're going to need another starting pitcher. And when you look at the starting pitching market for this offseason, it leaves a lot to be desired, Harrison. I'm going to read you off some of the MLB free agents in terms of pitching this offseason, because you don't know what Taijuan Walker's going to be. Like, he's going to have his spot in spring training and everything, but you can't go into spring training with him as a justified option. And that's coming from somebody who loves Taijuan Walker as the person. But we look at the starting pitching this offseason. It's
Oh boy.
It's interesting. So we have the old people's home, the 55 and over community, Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander.
Yeah.
We also have Blake Snell, who opted out of his contract with the Giants. So he's a free agent again. We have 35-year-old fell off a cliff as soon as he went there, Patrick Corbin, free agent with the Nationals. Also in the 55 and over community, Charlie Morton, Phillies legend.
Yeah.
You have Nathan Eovaldi, who is going to be 35 by the time next season starts. Frankie Montas, who is going to be 32 next season at some point. Corbin Burns, who everyone is predicting the New York Mets are going to overpay for and sign.
In classic Mets fashion.
Max Fried is a free agent from the Atlanta Braves. He'll be 31 by the time next season rolls around.
But wouldn't it be nice if we sniped Max Fried from them and just...
I would like it. He is just so often injured that I don't know if he also has Boston Red Sox all over him.
That's very true. He feels like a Sox guy.
Sean Manaea, free agent. Jack Flaherty, who I like. I like Jack Flaherty a lot. He would be a fun, like, 1-and-1 type of contract, in my opinion, like a 1 year with an option. I like Jack Flaherty a lot. He's only 29. Like, Jack Flaherty feels a lot older than he actually is. He's like the Amari Cooper of baseball. I like Jack Flaherty a lot. I would love him here. I wanted him at the trade deadline, but we'll see how that goes. Shane Bieber, also a free agent. I feel like Cleveland's going to do everything in their power to retain him.
He ain't leaving Cleveland. That feels like the biggest lock of the offseason.
Luis Severino, Nick Martinez, Phillies legend Kyle Gibson, also nearing the 55 and over community. He'll be the ripe age of 37 next season.
Wow.
Jose Quintana, Andrew Haney, Yusei Kikuchi, Anthony DeSclafani, Big Country, Lance Lynn, Alex Cobb, Wade Miley, Alex Wood, Walker Buehler, free agent. I feel like LA is going to do everything in their power to keep him as well. Martin Perez, can I interest you in soon-to-be 32-year-old Phillies legend Nick Pivetta?
Bring him back for his retirement. Do it.
James Paxton, who I think announced his retirement, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong. Trevor Williams, keep him away from my team. Colin Ray, Michael Lorenzen, who I wouldn't mind having back, honestly. Jose Uriquidi, John Means, Mike Clevenger, keep him the fuck away from this team too. Mike Soroka, which is an interesting option there. He's still only 27 years old. Spencer Turnbull, is a free agent. I wouldn't mind bringing him back either. Carlos Carrasco, Jose Urania, keep him away from this team as well. Josh Winder, Matt Boyd, Danny Duffy, Johnny Cueto, the king of the 55 and over community, Rich Hill, Dick Mountain, and Brad Keller. Those are your starting pitcher free agents. So it's slim pickings in the offseason in terms of starting pitching free agents. So I genuinely feel like if you can re-sign Ranger Suarez, if you feel like that's the route you want to go, and I feel like if the Phillies are a smart team, which I think they are, you maintain and keep your homegrown guys here and then disperse, in terms of trade or somebody like a Jack Flaherty, a Michael
Yeah.
Lorenzen or something like that to come
Honestly,
in and compete.
yeah.
I like
Bring
that
back
option a
Ranger.
lot better. Plus,
Bring
it's
back-
not like you only have two starters. Like you have Wheeler, you have Nola, you have Christopher Sanchez.
Yeah.
And
Sanchez.
then you have Ranger, Andrew Painter in the mix. Like, there's a lot there.
We're going back to an era of 5 aces again, maybe, which would be something. I
Would
miss
be
that era
something.
so bad. Bring back Cliff Lee, bring back RIP Roy Halladay, Cole Hamels. That era was so unmatched.
But yeah, the off-season trade rumors are always fun. The first free agent domino has signed Travis d'Arnaud, Phillies legend, signed a 2-year deal with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. I saw a tweet that it was like one of those meme accounts that said, I thought it said Dodgers.
Oh God, can you imagine?
But I quote tweeted Jeff Passan. I said, which team trades for Travis d'Arnaud at the 2025 trade deadline in July? Because we know the Angels are going to stink and they're going to trade off any piece they can. Travis d'Arnaud makes a perfect backup catcher for a playoff team. And you know what? He's probably going to get traded back to the Braves at the trade deadline.
Probably. My big question is, when are the Angels finally just going to cut Mike Trout loose and let him go to a team that will give him an opportunity at winning a World Series?
Would be nice.
We've got a certain team that wears red pinstripes just waiting in the wings.
Would be nice. His golf course is right down the street from my house, too.
Yeah. He could rock in his midnight green every single October, November, and December. He wants to do that.
Nice. Wouldn't it be nice? But yeah, let us know how you're feeling about these Phillies trade rumors in the YouTube comment section, or leave us a voicemail. Speakpipe.com/underground sports Philadelphia is the place to do it. Our voicemail line is open 24/7, 365. Let us know how you're feeling about the Eagles, the Phillies, the Flyers, the Sixers, the Union, the Wings, the Water Dogs, you name it. Let's talk. Leave us a voicemail. You'll be featured on every Monday episode if you do so at speakpipe.com/underground sports Philadelphia. Harrison, the Sixers stink, but you know what doesn't stink? Our friends at FOCO. They have released a perfect way for you to look good in Sixers gear recently. FOCO has been releasing lots of new merchandise and products for all fans to show off their favorite team, including our abysmal 76ers. We've got a whole shopping list available for you to check out that features the 76ers team stripe bib overalls, an amazing Joel Embiid bobblehead, the Sixers 3-pack beaded friendship bracelets, a team gnome, a bottle cap wall sign with the Sixers logo on it, a Sixers backpack, and I think one of the most underrated items this holiday season, the team property Sherpa plush throw blanket. It looks so soft. You need that this holiday season. Shop everything FOCO has to offer from our Sixers shopping list, or shop for your favorite team with our friends at FOCO. They have officially licensed merchandise for all your favorite sports teams, from Major League Baseball, the NFL, NHL, MLB, WWE, college basketball, college football. Those bobbleheads are spectacular. Check everything out. Foco.com. It's linked in the description, and shop our Sixers shopping list. And hopefully we don't cry about the Sixers because they're kind of stinky, Harrison. And Joel Embiid was back last night. Obviously looked rusty, but as the game went on, kind of progressed, got a little bit better. This team misses Tyrese Maxey now. Like, it's a never-ending cycle. They lose their opening game of the newly named NBA Emirates Cup to the Knicks. And if anyone was expecting a different result, I don't know why. It sucks, you know. The six, it's a weird spot to be in where it feels like nothing is going to go right with this team this year, and it feels like that way our entire existence.
Yeah.
But also on the bright side of things, if you can find a bright side, the season just started. Like, we're not even 20% of the season in. So hopefully this is just a giant bump in the road, you know, the one we experienced in 2021 going to Boston, something like that.
Yeah. Oh. And hopefully it's not like a permanent dent in the wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that I watched the game. Last night was the first Sixers game I watched all season from start to finish.
Yeah.
Because I lied. I watched opening night. I watched the game last night, and you could tell Joel was still not in it because it's his first game back. You know, people underestimate how difficult it is for somebody of his stature to get going.
Yeah.
And it's going to be tough until everyone is back on the court together. And they miss Tyrese Maxey. Paul George has had his moments. He looked good last night. He had a really good game. He had 11 points in that first quarter. It's just the complementary pieces on this team when they're not going, it's tough. You know, you need Kelly Oubre to be on as a 3-point, 3-and-D wing player. You need just the pieces around the guys to step up. And when they don't, it's tough. But I'll tell you what, and I talked about it on Monday, feels good to be right about Jared McCain, man. Feels good to be right about Jared McCain. He's a stud. And the future backcourt of Jared McCain and Tyrese Maxey together is going to feed generations. The happiest backcourt in the league, if you will.
Big old grins on their faces the entire time.
He's just so good. And I was talking to DJ about this, and I'm not saying that Jared McCain is these players, but he has like the raw version of what these guys do. His feet are so like twitchy and quick and shifty that it's very Steph, Devin Booker-esque with the way those guys, who may not be the biggest in stature, but they make up for it in so many different ways, and their quick twitch is one of those things, and Jared McCain has that quick twitch.
Yep. And that's huge for someone so young and fresh to the game. He's going to pick up how to play in the NBA very fast, and he'll be ready to go full, like, all-star caliber. I'd say 2-3 years, and then we'll have a full all-star backcourt if only we can get everything health-wise figured out. But at
He
the
should
time
100% be in the Rising Stars game this year.
Oh, yeah. But I'm just going to put out this right now. At the time this podcast releases tomorrow, the scoreline of the Sixers and the Cavs will probably have been 120-95.
Yeah, the Cavs 12-0 coming into the Wells Fargo Center, and none of the Sixers' big pieces are available. Paul George out, Joel Embiid out. But I'll tell you this much, Harrison, looking at the schedule, the Emirates Cup is still in play for the Sixers.
Hey, if we can get the Emirates Cup this year, I don't care how we do in the rest of the season. We could
it's still
out of the playoffs, not even make the playoffs. Just give us a trophy.
These are your group stage games remaining. Friday, Emirates Cup game in Orlando against the Magic. They're also down their best player. Paolo's out, unfortunately, but you can win that game. And then Friday, November 22nd, you're home against Ben Simmons and the Brooklyn Nets for the Emirates Cup
hope you
group stage. And then your final group stage game is December 3rd in Charlotte, revenge game again, even though you beat them. It's another game to follow up and build on in Charlotte against the Hornets. Yep. Those are 3 winnable games for you to advance in your group stage to the knockout round.
Yeah, they better do it. They better do it.
That's all my focus is right now is Emirates Cup run.
Yeah.
I was like, this is what it must feel like to be a Premier League fan.
Yeah. We've got the FA Cup, and then we've got the Carabao Cup, and then we've got the Champions League and the Europa League and the Europa Conference League, which Chelsea got a huge dub in today. Shout out the Blues.
Which did I tell you, like a couple months ago, I announced it. This year, I am paying attention table wise and game day wise. I'm picking my Premier League team this year.
Fuck yeah.
I have the table narrowed down to, I think I said 6 teams.
16?
I didn't announce the teams. I just said that there were 6 teams in the running. And for the most part, I want to say all of them are having pretty legit seasons.
Well, without revealing anything, because I'm sure we're going to do a big, fun special reveal. If Chelsea is on that list, big ups Cole Palmer, big ups Noni Madueke. You just need a better goalkeeper, and everything will be looking right in West London. But
I will say one of the teams initially was on the list, and then I found out who one of the minority owners is, Josh Harris, and they were officially eliminated. And Crystal Palace is fighting for their lives to stay out of the relegation zone.
yeah, Josh Harris takes over a team, and if you're not winning within the first 2 or 3 games, he doesn't give a damn about you.
Crystal Palace is so bad this year; they're keeping Ipswich Town in the Premier League right now.
Yeah, and who would have thought that? Not me. Just wait for Wrexham to be in the Premier League in 2 years, and then we'll see.
So funny.
Also,
yeah.
Rob McElhaney, please buy the Sixers. Buy the Sixers. We need you.
I'm all in on the Emirates Cup run for the Sixers right now. That's my priority and focus with them. That's what everyone's focus should be. Win the in-season tournament. And then once December, by the time that rolls around, December will be here. Christmas will be here. And then that's hopefully when everybody's healthy and ready to rock and roll. And that's when the season truly, truly, truly starts.
Yep. Absolutely.
So that's how things are going in Sixers land. Big things going on with our friends at the Premier Lacrosse League today, though. Huge announcement at the NASDAQ. I was part of the press conference today, which was such an honor and such a cool thing. Like, the production value on this press conference today was unbelievable. The Women's Lacrosse League is officially here, ladies and gentlemen. And why is this a big deal? Well, when we started this company, we put a lot of eggs in the basket of pro lacrosse, and it's probably the best business decision we've ever made in a lot of ways. And the way that women's sports, and you saw the shirts and the posts going viral this WNBA season where everyone watches women's sports. Women's lacrosse is so much fun. And I got my first in-person taste of it this past February at the PLL Championship Series when they had the Unleashed Women's All-Star Game. 6's format. It's super fast, super fun, so much different than traditional women's field lacrosse too. And I was like, this is it was genuinely, to this day, a top 3 lacrosse game I've ever witnessed in person. And that is in the breadth of multiple PLL championships, multiple insane NLL games. Like, that game was spectacular. And that also includes a couple college championship games in person. Like, that game was special. And I'm so excited for this new chapter of professional women's sports, professional women's lacrosse, professional lacrosse in general. The PLL closed the NASDAQ today, and they also have closed the Dow Jones. I don't know too many sports leagues that have done both. That's pretty special. And I loved Alex Ostholman's quote on First Take today, going at it with Stephen A. Smith. It was awesome. Stephen A. asked, I think it was Alex and Izzy Skane with Paul Rabel on the set, and said, why doesn't lacrosse have more popularity and more, just like discussion about it? Like, it's a big game, but like, why doesn't it have more? and Alex Ostholman with the quote of the century for the lacrosse community. She said, "Everyone's a lacrosse fan. They may just not know it yet."
Yep. Absolutely correct. You just haven't seen the game yet. And once you see that game, it's going to change your life forever.
It it's such a huge moment, and the WLL, the Women's Lacrosse League, it's going to
Great
be
game.
it's awesome. The logo is sick.
Yeah.
It's going to be 4 teams. They're going to have home cities off the rip. They are going to be competing at the championship series for the inaugural WLL Championship Series trophy this February. And Paul Rabel said that we will know team names, roster construction, and players where they're playing, coaches, branding, and all of that, home cities before the end of the year, which I think
Good.
is
Okay.
huge.
Get it out quick.
And basically said that this is
excited.
just the start. We're just scratching the surface with the WLL, and I couldn't be more excited. And getting to know a lot of these professional women's lacrosse players like Lizzie Colson, being around Charlotte North, Alex Ostholman, who is just fantastic. I'm excited for Izzy Skane, who's the youngest of that quadrant of ambassadors. Emily Haurashuk, Ali Mastriani, like the list goes on, and Rachel DeCecco, who has been a huge supporter of what we do here at Underground and with OTB. She is the VP of lacrosse for the PLL. She's going to also have that role with the WLL, one of the best college lacrosse players, women's players of all time. It was just an awesome thing. We're going to be covering the WLL. Hopefully there's a Philadelphia team.
There better be.
It's so funny because last year, this past February Champ Series, I was talking with Chase at the PLL Pipeline, give my boy the follow. He brought up the point that it would be sick if the PLL eventually adopted a women's league.
Yeah.
Check. And those teams were essentially very much like soccer, how you have, Liverpool, and then there's the women's Liverpool. You have that. It would be sick if we had, the Philadelphia Water Dogs, and then you have the lady side is also the Water Dogs, and they're competing under the same banner, and you have 2 entities of the same brand, the same team, the same franchise to root for, one on the men's side, one on the women's side.
And that way, when one of them wins a trophy, it enhances the meaning of the team altogether. Like everybody getting a trophy for everybody, no matter if you're on the women's team or the men's team, that just brings everybody together, and that's perfect. It's the same, as you said, same way the Premier League does it. Chelsea FC women, dogs. Chelsea FC men, dogs. Put them together, gold.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this next chapter of pro lacrosse and for the WLL to succeed. Everyone watches women's sports. You saw the WNBA takeover this summer. The past couple of years, we've seen the women's NCAA tournament for basketball outperform the men's. We've seen women's sports be at the forefront of our sports entertainment watching experience for a long time. This is just another chapter in that book that is going to just continue to grow the sport of lacrosse, prepare the women's game to be in the Olympics in 2028. And I encourage every single one of you listening to the show to also listen to OTB this week, because we're going to be breaking it down in a lot more detail, but also follow the WLL, follow these athletes. They are some of the coolest people I've ever gotten an opportunity to meet and interact with. And if you are looking for somebody to root for, Lizzie Colson's an Eagles fan, so go Birds. But I'm so excited. Congrats to the entire PLL. Paul, Mike, they're the best. They have been in our corner since day one, and super excited for this next venture that they have set for the sport of lacrosse. Couple quick points here too. The Flyers, Harrison. Maybe it was okay that Matvei Michkov, was a healthy scratch. Maybe it was just okay that the boy took a little seat and watched the game from the sky.
It's exactly what he needed. And I saw some reports. It wasn't that he was happy with being benched, because if you got a player who's happy being benched, you got to cut that player. But he was fine with it because he understands that he is new to American hockey. He's new to America in general. He's learning the language and he's learning how to play with teammates who speak a completely different language than him. And sitting his ass on the bench was exactly what he needed to get another fire lit under him because he went out there 2 days ago and just kicked ass against San Jose. A goal, an assist, and one of the filthiest shootout goals I've seen since Claude Giroux. So,
He's a dog.
it's a dog.
And we've mentioned since you've come back on the show, like this is a development year for a lot of these
Yes.
young guys. Let them learn.
Yes.
It's not like Michkov's going for like an Iron Man streak. Like
No.
he was never going to play all 82 games this year to begin with. Let him
That's
learn
typical
early,
rookie.
especially when he's in a slump. Don't let the slump pile up. Say, hey, we're going to sit you down, try to learn and watch what's going on and see where you would put yourself in your skates and watch from up top.
Yep.
And look at that. As soon as he comes out, he's ready to rock and roll again. And the Flyers, they split that nice little Florida trip there, like I mentioned on Monday's
Got points
show.
out of both of them.
Got points out of both, got points out of the defending Stanley Cup champs. And
Yeah.
you also won on Monday. You win in another shootout. When have the Flyers been this successful in the shootout?
God, not in my lifetime.
Like 3 straight games of going to the shootout and you win 2 out of 3.
That's better than I've ever seen them do in the shootout, ever.
2
It's
out of 3 in
insane.
the last 3 games that involved a shootout, and dating back to, let's see, in the preseason against the Bruins, they won in overtime. They won the season opener in a shootout against the Canucks. So they've won 3 games in the shootout this year alone.
That's got to be a new franchise record.
Like, that's crazy. That
Yeah.
never happens.
And it's because Danny Briere is doing such a good job at the helm. He's turning things around. Love him or hate him, Torts is probably the right coach for this franchise going forward. He's tough on the young kids, but he teaches them what they need to do. And Jonesy's doing a hell of a job in the front office. The players are playing for each other. A lot of things are looking right in Flyers land right now.
And you know what? Ron Hextall will always be a Flyers legend, especially right now because the Penguins look like absolute shit.
He's our secret agent. He knew that he needed to help us from the outside, so he tanked his own career with the Flyers so that he could go somewhere else and destroy them from the inside.
How?
Thank you, Hexy. I love you.
How did the Stars have a 6-0 lead in the first period the other night against them?
The Stars scored more points against the Penguins than the Cowboys scored against the Eagles. Put that into perspective.
What's going on a quote card?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Beautiful.
The Stars got an extra point.
The Stars at night, we're big and bright deep in the heart of Texas.
They know where the moon's at.
Yeah. Someone scored a touchdown in Dallas that day. Gotta love it.
That's insane. And I mean, right now, like, not that we're hyper focused on the Flyers trying to make the playoffs. Like, if they make the playoffs, it's awesome, but it's not the main focus. Like, they're only 2 points behind the Islanders, and they are 5 points behind the Rangers.
All I want out of this season is to finish above the Penguins and some good development to happen. That's it.
And you have the same amount of points as the Penguins, and you're ahead of the Blue Jackets in the standings now because you've won in the shootout.
And I mean, let's be real. The Blue Jackets were never going to be great this year, but they were playing for something more than themselves. Right. So no matter how they wind up, the season is still a massive win for the Blue Jackets, considering the hell they've gone through the past 2 years, 3 years.
And I mean, you look at the schedule, and we said, like, there were going to be winnable games on this schedule. You look at it right now, you've gotten wins in the shootout, no less, in 2 of them. You've lost 2 games outright, and you got a point against the defending Stanley Cup champions. Here's your schedule upcoming. Thursday, you're in Ottawa to play the Senators. Saturday, you're back home to kick off a 5-game homestand against the Sabres on Saturday, Monday against the Avalanche, Wednesday against the Hurricanes, the 23rd Saturday against the Blackhawks at 1 p.m., and then Monday night home against the Golden Knights. Then you go to Nashville. Then you come back home for Black Friday to play the Rangers, and then you wrap up November in St. Louis against the Blues.
Yeah.
There's still some winnable games on that schedule, looking at the way some of the teams are in the standings right now. Like, you look at...
And we didn't go on a 10-game losing streak, so...
Right, like the Sabres are not a good team. I don't think they've been a good team in my lifetime.
There was that 1 year in 2010 when we went to the Stanley Cup final, and then Billy Lano knocked him out of the playoffs. Shout out Billy Lano.
The Senators, they're a beatable team.
Oh, yeah. And Claude Giroux's not going to want to score against us. We're his club.
The Blackhawks stink. The Predators stink. The Blues stink. The Golden Knights are the most successful team in that stretch in the rest of November that you play against. And the Hurricanes, obviously. But
we proved we can hang with the Hurricanes.
Right. Like, they're a good team, but you've proven that you just need to not let the wheels fall off as the game progresses against them, and you can win.
Yeah. I mean, and again, for a young team, we can get away with letting the wheels fall off a couple times.
Right.
We're not.
And the Avalanche are beatable this year. Like, they're underperforming. So, like, you look at the schedule, and from your perspective as a hockey guy, Senators, Sabres, Avalanche, Hurricanes, Blackhawks, Golden Knights, Predators, Rangers, Blues. That's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games the rest of November. What would you like to see from this team record-wise in those 9 games?
Anywhere around 500. Anywhere around 500. We need to win the games against the Sabres and the Senators. If we drop a few to, like, the Golden Knights, we need to beat the Blackhawks. If we can beat at least the Blackhawks, the Sabres, and the Senators, I'm happy. Give me a ballpark anywhere between 4 and 5, 5 and 4. Those are interchangeable.
Like, if you end up losing the Golden Knights and Hurricanes, that's fine. That's almost expected.
You lose to the Rangers, it's going to suck because they're the Rangers. But
that's a game that I want to see the Flyers in, because the Rangers, you're not that far behind them in the stand. The Rangers have 19 points right now.
Yeah.
That's a team that you can hang with. There's juice for it. It's Black Friday. Like, that's become a staple game on the schedule in South Philly. Like, go out and perform in that game. Take it to overtime. Take it to a shootout and win in that circumstance. You'll feel really good about that game on a holiday weekend.
Absolutely. And do you know how to get the boys juiced up for the game? You get them in the OG 2007 black jerseys, not these new ones, the OGs.
Yeah. And I mean, you got to beat the Predators, beat the Blues, beat the Blackhawks. You should beat the Avalanche. You're at home, so that, to me, is an advantage for you. And beat the Sabres and beat the Senators. Like, Hurricanes, Golden Knights, I'm not worried about those games. You see what happens.
Yep.
Rangers, I want to see you compete. I want to see you be in that game. Those other games, though, they're winnable games for you, and you should feel like you have every chance to win those games.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a nice little November for the Flyers right now. They're doing well in the shootouts, which is a positive. Guys are playing well. So we'll see how November continues to shake out. Last bit here, it's brought to you by our friends over at Kenwood Beer, the official beer partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's a refreshing light beer, just 4.1% ABV. 120 calories, just 8 grams of carbs. You can go to kenwoodbeer.com and use the Kenny Finder to see who's got Kenwood beer on tap in the Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Maryland, New Jersey, and Delaware areas. You can also get it at your local liquor stores in those markets. Be sure to check out the Kenny storefront as well. You can check out where they got the pint glasses, apparel, the whole 9 yards. It's the best light beer on the planet. Go to kenwoodbeer.com. Must be 21 or older to do so. And, of course, please drink responsibly. Harrison, we were talking before we started recording. I don't know how it ended up on my For You page, on Twitter and Facebook and all of this, but under the radar the past week and a half or so, a quiet closing, allegedly, I still don't even know if it's happening, a quiet closing of KingDaKa and the Green Lantern roller coasters at Six Flags Great Adventure in Jackson, New Jersey, a staple of every tri-state area childhood is going to Six Flags. I've been talking about the past couple of years to my sister. Now that we're adults, I was like, we should just go to Six Flags and have a Six Flags day as adults, because that would be so much fun. KingDaKa, formerly the tallest roller coaster in the world, if not just North America. I remember when KingDaKa opened, it was a marvel of the world, and it's just such a fascinating story. I've been getting fed like these hyper niche like content creators that cover like theme park news and all of this stuff, and I want to reach out to some of them to get them on the show, because I feel like it is such a like nostalgia thing and such a like childhood staple thing to talk about Six Flags Great Adventure for Philly kids, New Jersey kids, Delaware kids. Like, it's just so fascinating that all of this is unfolding, and it was never announced. There's allegedly plans to replace KingDaKa with a faster, taller roller coaster. I'm fascinated by following along with all this stuff, because apparently Great Adventure is not the only Six Flags property that has rides that are closing. There's ones across the country that also have ones closing, because there's a new like overarching company that runs the Six Flags properties and everything like that. It is just a fascinating, hyper niche storyline that got fed to me on my social media apps, and I am in the mud with it. And it's just every single time I see something new, I'm like, holy shit, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
But KingDaKa seems to be no more.
Someone played taps. It's the end of an era. It really does feel like a tragedy, because I don't know the last time I was at Six Flags, but if I'd known that that would be my last time getting the chance to ride KingDaKa, I would have gone on it like 5 times.
Right?
But I don't care what roller coaster they put in its place. Nothing will be ever as iconic as KingDaKa, at least to, people from our generation, because that's the roller coaster we grew up with. And I swear to God, if they touch El Toro,
It's the
I'll
best ride. It's the
I'll
best
riot.
ride.
I will riot, but no, this is some BS. This is some
Yeah.
BS.
Sad day. KingDaKa. I was way too scared to ever ride it. It just it embarked fear into my eyes, but it was always fun to look at and watch all the crazy people
Oh,
get on
yeah.
that thing.
You hear the
I
people screaming, and then the scream gets quieter
from
and quieter.
miles away.
Yeah.
From miles away. Yeah, I think summer 2025, I'm gonna make a trip to Six Flags and have a nice little day trip at Six Flags. Whoever wants to come, we're gonna do it. Maybe we do underground at Six Flags Day or something. Six Flags,
Yes.
if you're listening,
We're coming your way.
let's partner up and do something fun. Do the show at Six Flags, something like
Ooh, hoo, hoo.
let's do something fun summer 2025. Let's do that. Six
Yeah.
Flags, if you're listening, let's work together. Let's do something.
Let's bring it together. Let's bring it together.
Oh, that would be so sick,
That'd be amazing.
because I have seen people do shows at Six Flags. When I was in middle school, I was in middle school band. We had our band competition at like the
Yeah.
amphitheater, and one of our band trips, Preston and Steve were doing their scavenger hunt at Six Flags in front of Skull Mountain, which would be the perfect place to do a live underground sports Philadelphia, by the way, is in front of Skull Mountain.
Absolutely.
Um,
That'd be insane.
Shout out to Preston and Steve. We do have some awesome stuff upcoming on the show too. Before we get out of here, we're working out the date, but OG producer Tyler Steinbrun and his band Polaroid Fade, they are dropping a new album in less than 2 weeks. They're going to be coming on the show to promo the album and pump it up. I'm very excited for that. Definitely go check them out on Spotify, Apple Music. They put out some awesome music, great vibes. And I was in a nice little just tweet conversation with our good friend Max Kerman, the head man of the Arkells. The music of Underground Sports Philadelphia's opening and outro music. Max is putting out a book. It's coming out April 2025. Max is going to be coming on the show. We're working out details on when, but he's going to come on the show to do a little media stop with us to promo the book and everything. Very excited for that. Max is the best. He's been an OG supporter of ours since before we even hit 100 episodes. So very excited for that as well. And we're working on some guest stuff, some fun stuff for the show, and that's why you got to follow us on the socials to keep up to date with everything we got going on at Underground PHI. Search Underground Sports Philadelphia on your social media app of choice. We're on pretty much every single one. Subscribe to the pod on Apple, Spotify, leave a 5-star review. It goes a long way for helping this show continue to grow, helps more people find Underground Sports Philadelphia and our entire catalog of podcasts. And if you missed the news, we announced it on Threads because that's where F1 Underground is popping in full throttle mode. The rebrand and name refresh for that show coming very, very soon. And I'm so excited about it, Harrison. It's going to be so sick. It's been a while since we've had a full-on brand refresh for one of our shows, and it is finally going to give F1 Underground a true identity and not just like a placeholder name for a if this happens. That show is happening. They are popping. We have huge plans for that show, and their rebrand is going to be so sick. I can't wait for it. Definitely check them out as well. They're doing great stuff. They have a new episode dropping. By the time you're listening to this one, it'll be out. So definitely check that out as well. Subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. That is where you get full video episodes of this show twice a week, every single week, full video episodes of every show on our network, clips, shorts, live streams, original video content. It's all on our YouTube channel. We are 132 subscribers away from 1,000. Let's get there sooner rather than later. Leave a like on the video, drop a comment in the comment sections, and of course, click that bell icon so you know whenever new videos go live. And this show is presented by the city of Vineland. And whether you're a company looking to expand, relocate, or you're a new business startup, selecting the right location is critical to your success. Vineland, New Jersey offers both an affordable business location and an excellent quality of life. The city's economic development department is a one-stop source for moving your project through the development and approval process. And their goal is to make this process as smooth as possible and to provide the fastest turnaround times in the region. If you're considering potential locations for your operation, contact the Vineland Economic Development Team at 856-794-4100. That's 856-794-4100. Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season. And big thank you to Security 21 Security Systems and Paul J. Gillespie Incorporated for their continued support of this podcast. And this has been episode number 690 of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Oh, so close to 700 episodes. That's so freaking crazy. For Harrison, I'm your boy KB. Shout out to the WLL and Six Flags and theme park creators. I'm coming for your DMs to reach out to you so we can talk more about this because it's so fascinating. But until then, go Birds. Let's get a W on Thursday Night Football. I'll talk to you guys on Monday. But until then, we're getting the heck up out of here. We're signing off. Peace.